Hello and welcome to episode 33 of Things We Play. It's Tuesday the 4th of September, except for it's Monday the 3rd of September, where we are in the past. Recording this a day early thanks to Joe. Hi Joe.
Hi.
And Sean's here as well.
Thanks, Joe.
Yeah, so what was going on, Joe?
I just busy. I need tomorrow free.
The ever-elusive Secret Joe. Okay, fine. Let's see if that continues now into the next segment. Joe, what have you been up to?
Nothing much this week. It's been very quiet.
Vague.
Elusive.
Exactly.
Evasive.
Would you trust this man?
If I met someone like me in the street, I wouldn't trust him.
No, and thank God that will never happen. You know, the idea of you meeting another you in the street.
The world would implode with awesomeness.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So you've not been up to much?
No, I've just been watching a large amount of TV and just playing some games, really.
Okay. What TV have you been watching?
I've been rewatching The Mentalist because it comes back in September.
The Mentalist. I've never seen The Mentalist.
It's good. I really
What's
enjoy
it about?
The Mentalist.
Tell me what it's about. Give me the snapshot.
It's about a guy called...
Sell it to me, Joe.
It's about a guy called Patrick Jane, who's chasing a serial killer called Red John because his wife and child were murdered by Red John 5 years ago from the first episode. And he's working with the California Bureau of Investigation and just helping him trying to catch him.
CBI.
Yeah.
The CBI. Okay.
But he used to pretend to be a psychic, but he's a mentalist, so, you know, he manipulates people with behaviours and suggestions and things like that.
Just Darren Brown.
Yeah, basically.
And who's he played by?
Simon Baker.
Don't know who that is. It sounds alright.
You'd know him if you saw him.
Right.
You'd recognise him.
Okay. Yeah, I suppose that could be alright. Justified. What else have you been watching?
That's about it, really.
Alright, okay, fair enough. So when you said I've been watching a lot of TV, you meant I've just been watching Mentalist back to back.
Yeah.
Okay.
But lots of it, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. I haven't watched any TV in a long time. I feel like TV's almost dead to me. Where's TV? Where's the next, you know, it's waiting for Walking Dead Season 3. What else do people watch on TV? Game of Thrones, is that on at the moment? I feel like no one's talking about TV at the moment. Are we in that slum? Is it the TV slum?
Yeah, don't All American kind of shows start again? Like
September.
Fall, yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah,
well, now.
Yeah.
Soon.
Yeah, I suppose we must be just coming out of it. That's probably why I'm feeling it. 'Cause it's like, oh yeah, TV
It's been
just
a
disappeared.
while, yeah.
Like, I feel like I haven't just watched like a marathon session of Come Dine With Me's in a while, you know?
Yeah, they just have all the good stuff over the Christmas period, and then you just have the bits and pieces that no one really care about over the rest of the year.
Well, because Green Arrow's coming as well. That's
Yeah.
what I'm sort of looking forward to. That seems all right.
We'll see.
And that's one of the ones starting this fall. So yeah, so I guess it must be all on the horizon. What have you been up to, Sean? Then
This and that, you know, wheeling and dealing, ducking and diving.
Down the markets, you scallywags down the markets with his DVDs.
He's yellow three-wheeler.
Yeah, exactly. It's, you know, you can buy.
I am from Peckham.
Yeah,
I know, Sean. I know.
You can tell. So what have you been up to? Come
I've been teaching my daughter stuff.
on.
This week,
she smokes. She's great.
No, I taught her how to blow bubbles with bubble gum.
Oh, that's,
And it's
yeah.
exceptionally hard to buy like Hubba bubble gum now.
Yeah, it was outlawed. That's the
Pretty
thing.
much.
It's like in the future you'll be able to look back and you'll be like, what was the first step to the demise of society? And like it's that point where bubblegum became illegal. You know, and it's like it's worse than cigarettes. It's just like, no, we've got to stop those fuckers.
Isn't that the case?
We've got to stop like little girls looking cute in 80s movies, you know, just like blowing a bubble, standing there twiddling with her hair. You know, that whole image gone.
Isn't that the case in Singapore?
I don't know.
There's an Asian country where it's pretty bad to be caught with chewing
I
gum.
mean, it's pretty bad here. That's the thing. That's why you can't get hold of it.
They're obsessed with vandalism.
Man,
and
they don't
being
even
stuck
let
to public benches
you
and stuff.
swallow gum anymore.
I'm gonna look it up. I'll look it up for next week's show. Singapore, I'm pretty sure.
So she can blow bubbles now.
Yeah.
That's quite cool.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
quite. I
She's-
feel like that's
she
the
was
sort of
excited
thing
by
that
it.
you're like, yeah, that's kind of awesome, but ultimately, you know, a mum's gonna go mental at you.
Yeah, probably. I mean, the downside is I have to constantly buy a bubble gum.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and you got to stand proud. Most people are going, yeah, what are you doing? I'm just buying loads of bubble gum for my like 4-year-old daughter, 5-year-old, and it's like, they're like, yeah, go you, you know. Why don't you buy her a gun next?
It's quite a big step from gum to gun.
I suppose
It's
yeah.
only an end.
But in many sort of a family movie, maybe a John Hughes style movie, has a bubblegum popping been mistaken for a gunshot?
Yeah,
so there is a link there at least. All right, yeah, that's cool. Teaching,
Yeah,
that's part of the
do
joy of kids.
occasionally. Yeah, I bought you a Tron figure.
Yeah, you did actually. You bought me a little Clue figure.
Yeah, which cost twice as much as your copy of Cold War that you gave me.
That's true, and I bet it's got more use as well. Because I've already got that figure out of his packet, broken it, and played with it for ages,
and then glued his head back on.
It's
in a different position.
Because they're really cool figures. You got me like pound stretcher or something.
Yeah,
you?
They're like £2, £1.99.
And they're just the official Tron figures. And they're like the size of like Mask, like Star Wars figures. They're like Star Wars figures,
4-inch maybe.
Yeah, and they got loads of articulation in them, and the hands and the arms and stuff, and the legs. And you go to move the head because thinking, well, at least I can turn the head left and right, or maybe it's on like a ball joint and I can move it up and down. That'd be even cooler. Wouldn't be out of the question given the build quality of the rest of the model. Except for the head does not move at all. So you force it a little bit and it suddenly
comes off.
Suddenly like moves. And then I just touched it again and it came straight off. So it's like, damn. But now I've glued it back on
in a different position.
Cool position. Yeah. It's pretty cool.
But you've missed out the key element of that figure is the chest lights.
Oh yeah, the chest lights. Like you press button on the back and it lights up orange.
So he looks like a glowy Tron.
I'm gonna maybe just tape the button in just so it's constantly glows because I figure the battery in there's gonna last ages.
Yeah, I think
so just leaving it on all the time would be pretty cool.
You'll come back one day and it'll just be melted, a little puddle on the floor.
I don't think the bulb burns that wall.
Yeah. So that happened. That was pretty cool. It was very nice of you. And it sits on my bookshelf now. It's one of those things that's sort of like, oh yeah, cool, a figure that lights up. And now it's not quite got there yet, but it's very soon going to be just like that piece of shit that's on the shelf that's in the front of something that I need to get to and always in the way and will fall over occasionally and I'll have to, his head's going to come off.
Put it in a box or something.
Yeah, exactly.
At some point.
Yeah. So, At
least it wasn't expensive.
That's true.
I've also shouted at some Germans.
You shouted at some Germans?
Yeah, you got to do it occasionally, haven't you?
Well, it depends on the situation.
Well, there's a couple of kids, and the one thing you were told, if you're travelling by a main road with a football, is hold the ball. You don't mess around on a main road with a ball. My mum used to drill it into my head. Don't fuck around with the ball.
Common sense.
Fuck around with the ball.
Common sense.
You'll cause a car crash, someone will die, and it'll be your fault.
Yeah.
So this kid boots the ball across the road. It hits the wall, rebounds out into the road because his friend missed the catch at the other side.
That is unfortunate because it probably would look quite cool.
And then rolls out in front of the car, so I just went ballistic at them.
And how did you know they were German? They were just wearing German flags.
No,
they're in Nazi uniforms.
I'm pretty confident they were German students.
Okay, but it just seemed odd that you just singled them out. They look particularly
Aryan. No,
obviously
working in a game station, you can differentiate your students.
You can just tell.
Yeah,
all right, that's fine. So, but I wonder because you said, rah, rah, did they then go 9 and run off?
One kid was just denying. He was like, "It wasn't me. It was him." Talking to his friend across the road, pointing him. That made me shout at him more. I was just like, "Just don't fuck around with the ball. I just want you to kind of take on the knowledge that you're standing next to a main road. You've almost caused a car crash. Don't fuck around with the ball. All you have to do is go, okay, I'm sorry."
Yeah.
But he just wouldn't take any exception for the blame.
I always think in those situations I always think what I would do in those situations, not what I have done, but I would just say the ball. I always think that.
That meant crossing back over the road.
You get that fear when you're walking past a bunch of kids in a field or something, and they're kicking a ball, and you just think if one of them misses, the ball's coming towards me, which isn't a problem. It's not going to hit me and hurt me or anything. But I've got to. Do I kick the ball back? You got that worry, right? Of suddenly like a loose ball from a game of dudes playing football has come your way. It's rolled your way. They're going, "Oh mate," or maybe they don't even go, "Oh mate," because someone's running over already. But you can either let the ball go past you or you can kick it. You can step up to the plate and kick it back to them. And the amount of pressure on you for that one kick is immense because you're like, I cannot fuck this up. I'm kicking this ball back to what is a group of now professional footballers in my mind. They've just lost the ball once and they've gone, "Oh mate, come on," and I'm like, "Yep," and they're like, "Oh." They're all thinking, is he going to do it? This is going to be mental. I can't believe we're about to see one of the most amazing things in the world. He's going to kick the ball straight back to us. And my mind just goes, and I'm like, I can't do that. And I just step over it. And carry on walking. And I'm like, "Yeah, sorry. Or something. What do? You have to nail that kick. Like, if you could just kick it back and score. If you scored a goal, you'd go down in history.
I don't think you would. This is not like kick out. So
the pressure is too much.
What inevitably happens with every England-Germany game, and it goes to penalties. It's not that kind of pressure.
That's
kick it or you don't kick it.
So what I want to do in that situation, if it comes to me, is just boot the ball somewhere else and just be like, "Fuck you shouldn't be playing football here. It's gone." You just be one of those like angry neighbours that just chucks a football like over over into someone else's garden or something and just be like, go get it. You know, shouldn't have lost it. Hate you guys.
You're just down on football in general, aren't you?
Maybe, yeah. And also just that competitive limelight in an athletic sort of environment. Not good.
Anyway, the girl they were with kind of went, "Oh, boys," and said sorry to me, and I moved on. Like, I nodded at her and I was like, "Yeah, right. Take him in hand."
Fair enough. It was lucky she was there because that sounded like that was going to kick situation. And
I've watched a bit of Alphas season 2.
I have no idea what Alphas is.
It's kind of like a TV version of X-Men without the licensing. It's about humans with slightly better abilities.
No, so heroes.
Some of them have like all the villains seem to have really cool shit. They can shoot electricity and stuff, and all the heroes are. One gets a bit stronger and one's a bit more agile and can take wicked shots and stuff. It's pretty good. It's not bad.
It's all about Gary in that show.
Yeah, Gary's an autistic kid who can see electronic waves and he can flip through CCTV and stuff.
Fair enough.
But he's kind of comedy relief as well.
Yeah.
You know, laughing at an autistic kid, as you do. What about you? What have you been up to?
Not a great deal. I went to the doctor's today. And I was overcome. I had a morning of, like some mornings things just don't go your way, and I was just overcome with rage sitting in the doctor's surgery. Mainly because my appointment was at 8:30 and I woke up at like 7 minutes past 8.
Right. So
having previously
having
previously woken up at like 5 a.m, I kind of went back to bed and then woke up like, oh my god, I've got to leave in like 8 minutes. So I ran to the doctor's and I realised that I'm just not very fit, so that was bad. And then I got there. And when I sat down, I got there on time and sat down for my appointment, and I had to wait just outside the doctor's room for like 45 minutes.
Yeah, standard.
Yeah, which wasn't bad. That doesn't stress me out. That's kind of cool. But what stressed me out was there was an old couple next to me and a dude over in the corner who was like, he was massive. He was like 800 pounds.
Right.
Couldn't sit down, just stood there. I felt like going, you're not going to sit down? And then realised that no, he's not sitting down because it's so much effort to get in and out of that chair that he ain't bothering. And he was making so many noise, just coughing his guts up in the corner. I was just like, oh man, shut up. Stop coughing, stop coughing. But the old couple next to me, one woman was reading a magazine and her husband was like, he wouldn't stop making noises. He kept going, woo, just like every now and then. Nice. And not like in a crazy way. He wasn't nothing
in a
wrong
kind
with
of
it.
distracted way.
Yeah, he was just like,
I'm concentrating on something, but...
And it was like, just shut up. Just be silent.
Crossword noises.
Yeah, just be silent. I just need you to be silent for like 2 minutes. Just complete silence. Because I am sitting there. I've not got my phone out. I'm not doing anything. I'm just sat there, silent. No one's getting any noise from me. And I just, and he wouldn't do it. Anyway, so that happened. It took me ages to get into the doctor's thing because there was like a drunk guy that had just walked into the surgery going, and the moon, and so they're like, oh, what are we going to do with him? And
that's what security's for.
Yeah, but it was like he was in with the doctor. It was crazy. It was getting well out of control. So she was stressed when I saw her. It turns out I've got something wrong with my shoulders. I've got like a rotation cuff problem. Okay, so they're screwed. But that wasn't the important bit. The doctor's experience just took me back years and it was weird. It made me feel old. Okay, right. It made me feel really old because that was the first time in maybe 20 years where I've had to take my top off in a doctor's surgery, right? And to a woman as well, a woman doctor. And, to lift my arms up and she, pulled me around. And I just felt old. I felt like I got to that point, where someone's just looking at you going, yeah, man, you're breaking. Like, you are starting to break. Yeah. This is,
I can empathize.
It's like, and she sent me away going, you take loads of ibuprofen and here's some YouTube videos to watch. And I was like, really just give me a YouTube prescription? So I'm afraid so. And I just felt like she didn't care that much really, but it was
you're beyond saving.
Yeah, the whole
we're
vibe.
Going to just kind of keep you drifting along.
Yeah,
but we need to get the young people in to fix the young people.
Yeah.
Is that what you
basically? Yeah, the whole vibe was just sort of like, dude, yeah, and I just felt I felt old and like I was like kind of like embarrassed when I took my t-shirt off and like because at first she was like, take your jacket off, and I'm like, cool, I'm not gonna have to take the t-shirt off. And she's like, now take your t-shirt off. And I'm like, damn, now you've just made it weird. You made it weird. We had this perfectly good doctor-patient relationship going on, and you took it too far. You rushed me. I'm not, that's not what I'm looking for here. And you've made it weird, and now I've got to go. So, and that was it. So, horrible doctor's experience. That was today.
Good job. I don't think many doctors' experiences are pleasurable.
No, but I think I normally go in there and you go, normally what happens when I go to doctors is I've got like, oh, this is hurting, and I go in, this is hurting. And while I'm in there, I sort of go, oh, but it's not too bad, and I'm quite stressed, and I end up explaining it away whilst I'm in there, and they go, oh, that's cool, just come back in 2 weeks if it's bad, and then I'll just live with it.
Yeah.
So when I'm in the surgery, I tend to play everything down. Like,
just in case you go, oh, technically you're already fucking dead.
Yeah,
just go over there. Could you just put a tag on your toe and zip yourself up in that bag?
It's just a flesh wound, I've had worse. So that's not great. Aside from that, what have I done? I upgraded my laptop RAM. I put an extra gigabyte in the laptop, and it seemingly made no difference whatsoever.
Excellent.
So that's dandy. And because we were playing Michael Jackson's Moonwalker for Educating Joe, I was playing a load of old arcade stuff as a result. And I finally got my emulation working for Windjammers on Neo Geo, which was arcade as well. And I freaking loved this game. As a kid, I played Windjammers all the time. It was a dirty, old, nasty, grimy arcade machine in a corner of an arcade on the seafront. And no one played it. Everyone was playing everything else, and it was still like 50p a go because it was a Neo Geo arcade machine.
Right.
So it was slightly more expensive, but no one knew what it was. The monitor was all burnt and horrible and stuff. But it was Windjammers, and it was freaking fantastic. And I finally got the emulation of it to work, so I've been playing it again. And man, that game has sucked the hours and the soul out of me. It's changed me this week, because not only was it a mission to get it running, because you can emulate, arcade games pretty easily these days with MAME. Pretty much everything works. It's just kind of plug in, grab the ROM, and you're off. But Neo Geo stuff's a little bit more tough. So I finally got that done, and that was cool. And then realised this is the best game ever. And showed you it, didn't I, Sean, while you were around.
You introduced it.
And it's just led us to all sorts of crazy places. Basically, Windjammers it's like Pong, but with frisbees.
Yeah.
You're like beefy double dragon looking characters, and throw in a frisbee across like a volleyball pitch.
Yeah,
to each other.
you can do kind of tricks with it. You can curve the disc and stuff, which obviously you could never do in Pong.
Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah, so you've got like trick shots and special shots.
It's a bit more elaborate.
And it's got like a speedball vibe to it, almost like a speedball 2 vibe to it, where you,
across your side of the court and stuff.
Yeah, and if you throw the frisbee really hard at something, it pushes them back, so you can push them back into a goal at the end. And it's simple, it's nuts. It's like rounds last for 30 seconds. It's first to something like 12 points or something, and it's awesome.
Yeah,
that's basically it. You should just check out a YouTube video of it and go, "Oh my god, Windjammers!" It's just so good.
It's really fast paced.
Yeah, it's very much like a fighting game in that respect as well.
Yeah.
But anyway, that led us on to just going, what happened to Windjammers, and why isn't Windjammers anywhere else? And damn it, you only ever meet two people when you're talking about Windjammers. You meet people that love the game and think it's the best thing ever, and people that have never ever heard of it.
Which was me. I'd never heard of it.
And so you need to seek it out. But anyway, we were like, well, how can this game be loved so much and everyone have such good memories of it and it be such a classic and no one have done anything with it? They're not being an updated Windjammers. That's just kind of nuts. So then through some internet digging, we found that there was a game that was kind of an updated version of it called Crazy Power Disc
Perfect.
And it came out in 2005, so it's a good sort of 11 years after Windjammers came out, and still a good,
7 years ago.
7 years ago, yeah. And it was a PC release, and it's very basic. It kind of feels not finished, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And we managed to track down a copy of this. You can't get this for love, not money. It's just impossible to find and any information on it. So just take our word for it. Maybe we'll do a video to show you what it's like. But it's Windjammers exactly.
Yeah.
But with updated sprites, it looks very sort of. Well, it looks nowish because it's still sprite work.
Yeah, it's kind of very Japanese orientated.
Yeah,
isn't it? It's kind of
and has more of a Street Fighter vibe to it in that respect. Certainly. But it plays exactly the same as Windjammers, but with a few new moves. You can jump now and stuff, and some cool special effects, and a whole host of like fighting lineup characters.
Yeah.
With different courts as well that have different attributes and gimmicks to them. So some of them have blocks in the middle to rebound your frisbee, and some of them will have like moving parts and whatever. And it's just.
Digital addiction.
It's mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing.
It's just eating my week away.
Yeah. So, Crazy Flying Disc.
Crazy Power Disc Perfect.
Crazy Power Disc Perfect, yeah, is what you're looking for. It's what an amazing game.
It is.
I don't know. So, it's difficult to explain. I'm just gushing like nonsense at it, but it's like, it's Frisbee that's awesome, and that's all you need to know, and it's mind-blowing. and it was all in Japanese. We had such a nightmare to try and get this to work, and then find a manual. I managed to extract a game manual from the game, which we were putting up on the site because you needed to find out how to do the special moves.
Which you translated from Japanese, basically.
Nothing is explained. Yeah, badly translated it. So we'll put that up on the site so you can have a look, because if you play this game, you will need those instructions.
Yeah, definitely.
But we massively urge you to. It's just crazy.
To the ends of the earth.
Yeah. Crazy, power, disc, perfect.
Yeah.
And Windjammers, credit to Windjammers. I still think Windjammers is the better game.
No.
But you can't go back.
No.
You can't go back from one. So definitely do it that way round. You'll have a better experience. But anyway, let's talk about some proper games. That's just the chaos of my week. Walking Dead Episode 3 came out last week, and we played that.
Yeah, we did.
You played it, Joe?
Yes.
To completion?
I did indeed.
Yeah, as did I. Sean, you haven't played it yet because you are sadly without internet at the moment, and have been for some time. You may have noticed, actually, guys, that last week we didn't have any indie games on the show, and that's largely just because Sean hasn't had any internet.
Yes,
So you've not played Walking Dead Episode 3 yet.
No.
We've already spoiled it for you entirely, but that's what happens when you don't keep up. No. We won't do the same here on the show now, but we're going to have a brief chat about it. Joe, what did you think of this episode?
I hate it. It's alright it's alright. I just hate what they've done with the story. Just hate it. I'm sure people love it. I just hate it.
So did you not enjoy it at all? Is it just because I always thought you were joking then when you were like, I hate it. I was thinking you were saying you hate it, but what I really mean is that I love it so much. but that's not the case. You genuinely don't like it.
After about 20 minutes, I was contemplating putting down the controller and never playing Walking Dead again.
And that's just because it was taking the story wherever you... So that's the equivalent of reading a book and going, no, I don't want to... No, stop torturing them, and then just putting the book down.
No, it seriously angered me to the point where I was just on the verge of putting the controller down, not finishing it, and not buying any more chapters of Walking Dead.
No, that's really interesting, because I enjoyed it. I thought it was a good episode. I didn't think it was as good as 2. I really liked 2 for some reason. I just had the tension that I needed, and I didn't feel like this had that. But that's interesting you say that, because this was a big episode. I mean, they told us before we went into it that someone major was going to die. And I was most shocked by the fact that with Walking Dead, like, loads of people die. And actually in this episode, quite a lot of significant characters die. When you consider that, I pretty much feel like at this point in the game, I've only got significant characters around me. Like, if any one of them died, I'm going to be a little bit like, whoa, fuck me. I wasn't expecting that. So that was a bit strange. But I see what you mean, Joe, because the choices they make for the way the story to go takes away some of the stuff that you've invested in. It's like it's some of the most personal stuff, and it's your own choices that get raped, I suppose.
It does, because I'm always nice in the game. I always pick the nice choices. Now I feel like I could have just been a complete cunt and not paid any attention to anything.
It's weird. It hasn't turned me off in that way. I still feel like it's my story and I'm going through it, and but that's an interesting point of with the things that happen in episode 3, they're kind of big enough to no longer make it feel like your story. You feel like, wow, I'm just going through like someone else's story now, whereas before it was like my decisions are affecting stuff, and that's such a big change that you're like, no, I've lost it. It's kind of thrown me out. But it was still good. It's got a train in it.
Yeah, I just think the
Spoilers.
experience towards the beginning, it sort of ruined my
That's a shame.
want to play it, but I sat there and I finished it, and now I may continue with it, maybe by the last few chapters, but I'm still unsure.
There's no way now at this point that I could not get the others. Not get the other chapters. That'd be crazy. Like, Sean, will you still get episode 3? Yeah, it seems like it would be madness to not finish that. I don't know how many there are.
I think there's 6 in total.
Okay.
By the time episode 4 comes around, I'll probably buy it, because by that time, my anger would have subsided with the game itself, and I'll feel like continuing, because the next chapter looks like it could be quite interesting. Depends on how they do it. But
what I find quite interesting is how your stories are starting to deviate more and more, and I'm quite interested to find out how much they have deviated in the next one, because significant changes have happened between the pair of yous.
I think I'm still not quite buying it
because of the choice.
Different.
I don't know. You two have made one significant choice, which stands out to me, and I want to see kind of how that translates into the next episode.
I don't know. I feel like it craftily works everything back. The things they remove and put in, they just work it in another way. It just happens slightly later.
That was probably the whole point in this chapter, so they can get everyone who's made different choices in line with each other, and then continue it again, just to make it easier to write the next set of stories.
Like a new reset point.
Yeah,
it's interesting. It's still good. It's still worth playing along. I found this one slightly less. I was going to say it's slightly less buggy, or it ran a little slightly smoother than the last episode, but it wasn't less buggy. I had a whole couple of scenes where a whole character had disappeared. Their model just had not.
Yeah,
loaded,
I had that as well. Yeah.
Which was a bit of a bummer, and it's a shame that we keep getting those in this series, but. You know.
The skips in between, like camera cuts during conversations, it's not as bad as it was.
No, all that was much better, I thought.
Yeah.
But then it doesn't flick around as many scenes. Episode
No.
2 kind of jumped around all over the place in terms of setting, and this one very much you kind of stay in the same place for most of it. So I'm enjoying the way these delivered. Episodic stuff's working totally for me. It's still slightly too long between episodes. You know, they got it down to a month now.
Yeah.
But it still feels slightly too long. I kind of want it fortnightly or something.
I think if you had them fortnightly, you'd probably see a lot more bugs.
Yeah, true. but I think, you know, how would you want to play this?
I think monthly is fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of forget. I fall out of it though. I forget about it. I forget about the story. I forget what happened in the last episode in that course of a month.
It does recap quite well at the beginning of each episode of what happened before, but I'm just looking forward to getting all the chapters and starting again and just making completely different choices to see if in fact it makes any difference really in the story itself.
Have you changed any of your choices on the way through? Have you made any? Because it happened to me this episode, and I can't remember what it was. But have you made any choice and then gone, no, shit, I didn't want to do that, and either turned your Xbox off or reverted back?
Yeah, I have. It was at the beginning. There's a conversation where someone's trying to accuse, someone of being bitten, and you're just arguing the point that wait and see, clean them up and find out. And yeah, I made the wrong choice first time round, and then I went back, started
Wrong
again.
choice.
The choice I didn't want to make.
Okay.
I went back and went through it again, and then they'd switched all the choices around. So by accident, I've done it again.
Yeah, because they mix the buttons up now. Yeah, so there's different buttons for the same choice. Yeah. Okay, no, that's interesting. I haven't done that. I've just mainly actually through laziness, I think, but I just haven't gone back and changed anything. It's kind of like this is my story no matter what.
Yeah, I did cheat something in episode 2 because I didn't get to a point in time. So I went back and redid it so that I did get.
It's weird. Well, why did it matter so much for you to do that?
I don't know.
Strange.
I did with this episode try and go back and see if I could change the story to try and affect the story so that I actually enjoyed it, but it just wouldn't let me. Instead, I spent 10 minutes playing through it where it was pointless.
Well, that's it. There are things that are going to happen, and they do happen. If you don't like them, then yeah, you can find yourself, like yourself, Joe, not enjoying where you're going. Let's talk about something else.
I have dipped my toe into Armored Core 5. And yeah, man, mech games.
Why are you playing Armored Core 5? And don't diss mech games, because mech games are brilliant.
Are they?
Yeah, you know they are.
Are they?
Mech Warrior 2 is one of the best games.
When was that made?
Doesn't matter.
When was that made?
Like 95. It's an amazing game. And
Armored Core 1 was decent.
And we're all looking forward to Hawken.
PS1.
Don't diss mech games. Why are you dissing mech games? What have mech games got wrong with you? You're playing ArmoredCore 5. It's bad, yeah? Let me tell you, it's bad. Is it bad? I haven't played it, and I reckon it's bad.
It just sucks the soul out of you while you're sitting there looking at these screens.
Are they slow mechs or fast mechs?
They're relatively fast.
Okay.
I mean, the actual action of the game isn't bad, but 4 boost buttons. It's got 4 boost buttons. It's like, what's that about?
What's wrong with 4 boost buttons?
Why would you need 4 buttons to boost?
I saw you raging on Twitter about this game having 4 boost buttons. And why? What's the deal?
Okay, so A makes you jump.
Jump button.
But it also causes you to boost and locks you into boost.
But what sort of boost is it? Well, do all these boost buttons do the same thing?
It's a reasonable mode. It's kind of like mid-boost. Until you
I don't understand what you mean by mid-boost.
Because you've got multiple different speeds of boost.
Yeah, no, but I'm jumping. So is it just boosting me upwards?
No. It boosts you up, and if you tilt forward on the analog stick, you're then in boost mode.
Okay, so just hear me out. So can I boost along the floor with that button?
Yes.
I can, but I thought it jumps me up.
It pushes you up initially, and as you go forward, you then descend to the ground.
But can I do it without jumping?
No.
So it's a jump button, right?
Right. It's a jump button that you can adjust.
You can have a jump button without a boost, right? Am I right?
Yeah, sure.
And then tap a boost button if you want to
But
boost.
if it's a robot, it's just like, it's using boosters to jump, right?
Yeah, but then if you're trying to land on something specific, you may overshoot because you're automatically in boost mode. Then you have the left bumper, which switches boost on and off. So you can just tap left bumper and you'll boost. Then you have X, which causes you to boost hop, or if you tap and hold it, it then causes you to kind of hyper boost. But you also have left analog stick in, like the L3 button, which causes you to hyper boost. It's like, why have I got so many buttons to boost?
But these are all different
I've got
things.
less buttons to shoot with.
Yeah, I suppose. But I think maybe your issue is that it just boosts a lot. rather than the buttons do, because the buttons just sound like they are jump, dash, and
boost, and
standard
boost.
sort of standard movement controls.
It seems like there's too many boost buttons.
I'm pretty sure from every video I've seen on like of Armored Core is a lot of boost action. Boost
Yeah.
fighting,
I just don't think it's a major
buttons.
thing that everyone's worrying about. I just think like these things are heavy; they're going to have to boost around, right?
But it's like so many boost buttons. You've got less buttons to fire with. You've got 3 buttons to fire with.
Yeah, sure, but movement. How many buttons do you need to fire with? 1. Fire.
No, you've got
fire button.
You've got your left gun that he holds, your right gun that he holds,
2 then.
and his shoulder gun, which is like your
So, how
heavy
does it
weapon.
do? So what are you telling me is that the game came out and they devoted all these buttons accidentally to boost, and now they just don't have buttons for some of the controls? Or can you fire all these things?
You can fire all these.
Yeah, there you go. So they worked around it. They got around that issue.
It just seems unnecessarily complicated.
All right.
Well, that's why there's so many boost buttons, because they only had to have 3 fire buttons.
Yeah,
They just
I
had to use up
guess,
the rest of the pad.
Maybe.
Tell me about Armored Core 5. Anything?
It's the actual combat is all right. It's not bad. It all kind of looks quite dull. The most fun I had was colouring in my mech.
Yeah, I remember that. You can get to it's really basic. You can just sort of do a hue colour.
Yeah.
colour
You
there.
can slide up and down.
But
all the menus, the shop, is just overly complicated. I think with the shop, you can scroll left and right through all the parts of your vehicle and guns and stuff, and then up and down for all the different things. That's fine. But when you're purchasing a gun, it gives you like a full screen of description and none of the stats. You then have to kind of click on the gun to then have it show the stats again. So you click on the gun twice, and it's just like, what's the point? These are the things that should be refined by like the 6th game. Even though it's called 5, there's 2 Armored Core 4s. There's 4 and 4 answers. So this is like the 6th game.
Yeah.
All this shit should be seriously refined. You should not be alienating new people to the series. You should be trying to.
But was all
people
that stuff in the
surely.
previous games?
I imagine.
Yeah, we don't know.
No.
Exactly. But
Because no one likes Armored Core. Who's
yeah.
playing
Well,
it?
that's 'cause it's
Other than
not.
me.
It's
For
not.
this
Yeah.
show.
Why are we playing it? That's kind of the
Literally
thing.
because I've not played much this week, so I thought I needed to play something.
Okay. Yeah, it just seems.
So
mad.
I'm playing
It's
it
not-
for the sake of playing it.
It's
at
not.
the end of the
It's
day.
not. It's not a good game.
No.
You know.
It was.
I just
Unless you're
remember-
into the series.
Well,
you're never
but
gonna
even
really
if you're
enjoy
into the
it.
series, I don't know. It's it's the first time on this generation, so it was kind of like a leap anyway. And was Armored Core 5 in this? No, Armored Core 5 was.
Armored Core
Is it
4,
a different developer?
4 and
4
4
answers.
answers are on this
Okay.
generation.
Did they
I don't
not
know
change
about 3.
developers?
I have no idea.
Something with it. But I just remember it being really dull going through it. Like none of the excitement of just being in the mech and wandering around fighting other mechs was there. It was just kind of really dull. The environments looked really bland and just clunky more than anything. So yeah, I wasn't expecting.
I'm not sold. Certainly not.
You shouldn't have been. You know.
But I've still not had a full-on mech experience that I'm happy with at this point in my life.
You need to play Mech Warrior 2. Let's get back.
I
and play
played
Mech Warrior
I played
2.
Lone Wolf on
Yeah.
Xbox and quite enjoyed it. I played it online a bit as well.
Yeah, but you need Mech Warrior 2 PC. Get it. That's all you need. It's the best mech game ever. Like I'm not that excited for Hawken anymore.
I don't know.
It's
It
too.
looks swish.
It's too. Doesn't feel enough like the mech game I want. It just feels too much like a frenetic shooter.
Sure.
But quite cool because it's using the Oculus Rift now, isn't it? They've announced that at launch it'll support that mad headset by John Carmack and people.
I felt occasionally that kind of Zone of the Enders almost gave me what I want. I want that kind of.
As Only
Gundam-
Enders is nuts though. It's kind of those two third person space Panzer Dragoon-y sort of
Detonator
crazy stuff.
organ. That's the kind of action I'm after, where you're kind of slashing with each other with swords and you're kind of deflecting.
So
back.
when did you play Virtual On?
Yeah, again,
Oh, I
the
see.
controls are nuts.
No, that's
man,
why because
Virtual
Virtual On is the controls that made that awesome. It was like the baby brother of the Steel Battalion in that respect.
Yeah.
So just because you had 2 sticks. But that was cool. But that was all fast,
I
rushing
think I had
into each
Virtual
other
On
and
Saturn.
slamming them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool. And I
Or maybe on Dreamcast. I can't remember.
The point is, Mexico.
Mexico. I still don't feel that
Mexico.
I've had a game that captures what I want from.
Well,
mechs.
one day, Mechs-I-Can. No, mechs are really cool, and so are robots. Robots are really cool. And do you know what the coolest robots are? Robots that can turn into stuff that looks sort of a little bit like maybe it came from Earth, but it's not, and it can't possibly have done because they're on Cybertron.
I was
Those
expecting robots in disguise, but
No, I find those ones are more than meets the eye. So Transformers,
Yes.
that came out. We played that. You didn't play this, Joe.
I didn't know.
Do you like no? Don't. Is there a reason why you didn't pick this up?
Because I was planning on playing Darksiders 2 and finishing that up and just didn't get around to it.
Okay, no, that's fine. I didn't know if there was anything you were like, no, no,
Don't do
not
Transformers.
Transformers, no, can't.
Bit
mustn't.
too 80s.
We played it though, and yeah, I like this. How did you feel about this?
Yeah, I had real mixed feelings about Transformers. It's still is still not where I want it to be. But
Shocking.
it does have some fucking awesome moments.
It's a great game. So we both finished it.
Yeah.
And I thought more than anything, it's just that there's something happening in this game all the freaking time. It's got like a Call of Duty vibe to it in the way the levels are structured, where you're jumping around from character to character and perspective.
Right.
So you know, the first game there was a
Autobots campaign.
Yeah, Autobots and Decepticons campaign.
Separated, yeah.
Yeah, and this time it's just all in one, and you kind of jump around in that same way you leap around in Call of Duty. Because all you're essentially playing in the 10 levels or however many it is you're just playing the highlights reel of whatever the war is.
Yeah.
It's like, here's when something massive happened, and here's when something massive happened for someone else, and here's the other side of that. And that's kind of the way it goes, which is cool. It keeps it fresh. But the game is unrelenting, and I found that because of that, the middle gets quite laborious. Yeah, there's a repetitive nature to it, and if you're stuck as a character that you don't particularly love, and there are a couple that I don't think are as good as the others, those bits can suck a little bit. Whereas those other bits are great. When you're playing as Jazz and you get your grappling hook, that's kind of cool.
Jazz and Swindle for the Decepticons both have the grappling hook, and they're all right.
And when you get the moment where you are Grimlock is cool. There's awesome things that change up the way you play. You know, and the Transformers do a little bit because they've all got different characteristics when they transform and different weapons. Oh, actually, weapons not so this time, is it?
No, it's the same as the last one. You just go around and you pick up. There's a kind of a set of weapons that is available to
every
all
robot has the same weapons,
and they can just pick them up and their arm transforms into that gun, basically.
So it's only really sort of getting around that changes.
They all have an ability, as well.
But it's cool. I thought more than anything, this was just polished as hell. It was just like, it had almost like an Uncharted level of like wow factor.
What it does really well is at certain points it will go straight into a cutscene and come back out with no letterboxing and no loading. But then at weird times, and you quoted on it when I was playing it round at my house and you was there, that they've got like just that fraction of a second loading, but it's in the middle of a sentence or something.
Yeah, there's a couple of strange moments where the world will load in, and it catches you at a weird bit, but it's slick. It's slick, and like you say, it does those Uncharted style instantaneous breaks into a cutscene and then flowing back all the time, and the direction's really good. What really struck me is when you first load up the game. I was going to say movie. When you first load up the game, the way it starts is just like a movie. It's got like a real awesome soundtrack. I think the score to this game is fantastic. And it's really like the credits are coming up and, late title card. And it's just like, this is cinematic as fuck. This is awesome.
Yeah.
And I really liked that. And that helps a lot. It's got some, it just throws so much at you, but it looks great. It looks really great.
I still got issue with how easily they go down. You're like, not your opponents, but you as a Transformer, until you get all the perk upgrades and stuff. Your 100% energy bar you just fold so easily.
You reckon? Well, he's got recharging energy shields, hasn't he?
Yeah, it depends. It also does depend on who you're playing. Kind of Megatron seems more robust than most, but I don't think he is. Him and Optimus Prime are certainly the same.
It was just
Grimlock's got more energy. Brutus has got more energy. And stuff.
I just thought it was hard more than anything. I thought it was really quite a hard game. There were several moments throughout it where I just got stuck and was dying over and over and over again. Yeah, and it was mainly because I wasn't being cautious enough and sort of.
Yeah, you do have to turtle a lot. You have to kind of poke your head out, take people off, stand behind kind of scenery, though you don't lock to it.
Yeah, well, it's that strange thing, isn't it? It's kind of a bit odd now, and it's kind of Transformers' gimmick almost, is that it's a third-person cover-based shooter, but without the cover. Yeah. What you use for cover is that you switch your weapon from left to right hand side to sort of peep round. And you really have to do that. It's when you're not doing what the game exactly wants you to do that it kind of goes wrong, and you do just keep dying. Yeah. Normally because you're rushing it. But it's there's some really big moments in it. The sense of scale in the game is awesome. It's good. Like the world looks great, and I think the demo shows it off really well. The bit in the demo where you're flying, I can't remember which Transformer you are, but you're one of the Transformer dudes. And you turn in the helicopter and you fly through that tunnel of like the gears turning around, and you come out into the world. It's one of the best scenes in the game. It's just like wow.
We're taking out the bridge.
Yeah, it looks very, very impressive. And so there wasn't much that kind of sucked. What annoyed me massively was the scene where I was playing as Cliffjumper.
Right.
You're Cliffjumper and Jazz, is it?
Yeah, when they're in the sea of rust.
Yeah, and Cliffjumper's voiced by Nolan North in this game, and it, like, already that annoys me because like, oh, haha, yeah, Cliffjumper and Uncharted, link there. But you also do it on like the, like almost like the Aztec Mayan sort of adventure level in Transformers, where it's all kind of old ruins and overgrown stuff, and you're like, oh, this is Uncharted-like. And Nathan Drake, Nolan North just phones in the performance tool as Nathan Drake. That's it. His voice for Cliff Jumper is Nathan Drake's voice. This guy can do loads of voices, and he just does Nathan Drake's voice.
Right.
That got my tits a little bit. Also, some Transformers just aren't cool. I'm not one of those people that thinks Megatron's cool.
Right.
Like, I used to like Megatron, but ever since the movies where he's had that more sort of pyramid-like head, that like Magneto head, I don't like him. And so he annoys me, and, you know, he doesn't turn into a gun.
No, he turns into a tank.
Yeah. So I'm not a fan of it. So there are hits and misses as far as I'm concerned.
Sure.
But the game is exciting. It's cool.
Yeah, a lot of it was kind of monotonous for me. Other than the kind of big standout moments that you get kind of every couple of levels, it was the last 2 levels for me, last 2 or 3 levels for me, that kind of sold this game to me at that point. But by that point, I'd already invested, and it was already a bit late because it was the end of the game.
Yeah,
so I played through it all anyway.
But I think it took a while to get there. I don't remember being overly taken with the end of the levels. The final scene I thought was brilliant. The ending is kind of weird because it's very abrupt.
Yeah.
And totally sets it up for like, hey, let's do anything in the next game, which is cool. I'm happy for High Moon to do that. You know, I'm hoping they're just kind of moving to a Gen 1 area, and actually the way this ends could open them up to sort of like, oh yeah, and now everyone's Gen 1.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, this makes me look at High Moon differently. It makes me think, they're like, you know, they're a quality studio now. The multiplayer was brilliant. I played the multiplayer for this for loads of time. I genuinely thought this is different enough a multiplayer to stand alone.
Right.
And building. Did you not look at any of that stuff?
No, I'm not lying.
Yeah, because the customizing of your robot's really good. Of your Transformers, you get to build your own Transformer, choose their colours, and choose the various parts that make them up, and you can make a pretty decent looking Transformer.
Yeah, I played the multiplayer for the first game, but not for the second.
So it's very similar.
Yeah.
I just found it really works quite well because it becomes quite a lot about moving around and you know, people are zipping around all over the place. You can have cool dogfights and stuff. I really like that. That had weight to it in a way that I didn't think. You know, it doesn't feel like it's tacked on.
Right.
So these guys are making what they're making. They're making the Deadpool game.
Yeah.
Which I think this bodes well for that. I mean, who knows what that's going to be like, but it's just the level of polish and cinematics. I think that's a good thing, and I'm glad to see other people doing that Uncharted thing, because that was really well done in Uncharted. And I know we're seeing it in a few other games, like Dead Space does it very well as well. Yeah. But the more we see that, the happier I am. I just kind of want those cool cinematic experiences, and I cared about this. The story was good. It was alright. For what, you know, for having to write in the Dinobots, and actually make a plausible and acceptable and compelling story in a Transformers universe where they don't go to Earth.
Yeah,
it was like, yeah, you did a good job, totally nailed it. You know, it's in no way is it anywhere near as good as that cinematic, emotional trailer that they put out with Optimus Prime and Bumblebee. Yeah. You know, but it tries to be that, and I think it does a pretty good job. Will you play this, Joe?
Probably at some point. I did have plans on playing it, just didn't get around to it.
I think it's definitely worth a look. It's one of the better games of the year, I think. It's not. I think Sean's right. It does fall down in moments. It can get a bit repetitive, but it's good. I think it's still a quality game.
Yes, it's definitely worth a look, and if nothing else.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're gonna go transform into something else and play some music as we do. We're actually gonna keep it on the robot theme. This was from the end credits of Transformers War. Cybertron.
The first of the two.
Is it War of Cybertron or War for Cybertron? War for Cybertron.
Yeah.
This was the end credits music, and it's freaking amazing. That's
yes.
kind of basically all you need to say. Forget you got the touch. This is it.
In a cold, faraway world, a battle is raging between evil and good. From the stars that came here to Earth, caught in their struggle through the whole universe. Robotic warriors give it their all, fight in disguise to the victors their soul. Transformers, defenders of truth, robots who fight in disguise. Transformers, when the battle is through, only the strong will survive. Unknown soldiers fighting the war. Use Transformers, when the battle is through, only the strong will survive. Children of one. Galaxies roaring.
All right, we're back. That was some overexcited Transformers music.
Oh man, it's so good.
It's very good actually, and then they animated loads of nice little cartoons to go with it, didn't they, as well? Annoyingly, they don't do that for Cybertron.
Yeah, it's kind of underwhelming after the last one.
Yeah, it's still not a bad credit sequence, but
They
it's
set the bar high on the first one.
It's
You
nowhere
kind
near
of
as good.
got to step up to that plate, man.
So that's cool. Joe, you've been playing some Mass Effect 3.
Yeah, I've gone back and picked up the Leviathan DLC.
Yeah, what's the deal with this? I kind of thought Mass Effect 3 was kind of done, dusted, no one was ever going to talk about it again after they changed the ending. But there's more DLC?
Yeah, I always expected kind of more story-based DLC.
Yeah, they were always going to do it, EA, they love their DLC. But Leviathan is something that I think people were after as well, because even though they changed the endings in a way, there was a lot of unanswered questions still, so the origins of the Reapers and things like this, and that's what Leviathan is all about. It's more backstory. It all happens now in the universe, but it explains how the Reapers started, some of the other unanswered questions there are about the ending and things like this.
Okay, cool. Well, it sounds like there's a lot of talking. What do you actually do in the DLC?
It all starts, you get a message on a terminal and you head back to the Citadel and you talk to this doctor. And then from there, he starts telling you about this massive mythical creature that lives out in space and it's killed a Reaper at some point just because it was in its way. And so you're hunting for this thing. There's a lot of back and forth. So you're not searching for that point, you're searching for a woman. So you head out, you go there, you find her, you come back. Do some more, you head out, you find what you're after, come back. And then eventually you head out again and you go looking for the Leviathan.
Is there any kind of firefights with this DLC?
Yeah, there's quite a lot. Because the Reapers are trying to find Leviathan first to destroy it before you can get in contact with it. So the whole point is you're trying to get it before the Reapers to try and get it on your side for the battle.
Does it add additional kind of elements to the ending then?
Yeah, like I said, it explains more. It also adds more war assets to your battle against the Reapers and things like this. I can't really go into too much detail without spoilers.
Sure.
Yeah, it's very interesting. It was 800 Microsoft points for what it is. It's not bad because it was 3 to 4 hours of extra gameplay.
Yeah, that's all right. That's not too bad.
Yeah, it was very conversation heavy. So there was a lot of talking and figuring things out. Gunfights wise, there wasn't a massive amount, but it was interesting to get all this backstory, and when you finally find out what it is and things like this, it's really good.
I mean, that's what BioWare are really good at, is the kind of building the lore for the stories anyway. So I'll pick it up.
It is if you're a big fan of Mass Effect, it is worth picking up.
It just seems like to me. It just seems like old hat. It's kind of like Mass Effect. I'm kind of. I'm done with feeling that. Do you know if there's any more?
To be fair, that you wasn't that invested in Mass Effect.
No, sure, but you couldn't escape it. Certainly around Mass Effect 3 as well, and then the double hit with the ending and stuff. But is there any more planned, or do you know?
I'm sure they're gonna bring some more out at some point. They did have a massive thing, but it was about Leviathan, building it up. But it just it was only over the last month or two they've just really started. I can see more coming. 'Cause I doubt they'll go with just one piece of single player DLC.
Yeah.
The majority of the stuff they've been doing is just giving away extra content for online.
Yeah, I'd imagine they would. I think there'll be more coming. I'd imagine they want to eke this out to try and bridge that gap as long as they can between this and whatever game that comes next.
Yeah.
So, or at least until an announcement of the next game. No, that's cool. That's interesting. 800 points doesn't seem too bad.
No.
It's $6.99.
Yeah, it could be worse. But yeah, I'm kind of happy with that. I played Binary Domain. Borrowed it off you, didn't I, after last week, Sean?
And how you feeling about it?
Yeah, Binary Domain's terrible. It's not terrible. That's an unfair statement. Binary Domain, Sega third-person shooter, cover-based shooter, Gears of War style, thinking correctly. It's robots. It's you in the future against robots, and it's very, very generic.
Yeah.
It's kind of it's weird. It's got this big focus on voice commands. It wants you to wear your headset all the time, and then control your. You're not really in a squad, but you've got teammates with you, kind of like Gears of War, but with more control over them. And it wants you to shout at them all the time, going, "Go over here, fire, cover me, help," and really talking to the mic. That's why it wants you to do it. It even says if you don't have a mic hooked up, it says, your experience ain't going to be as good as it would be.
Yeah,
you know?
it does.
And the way you do it when you don't have the mic is you just hold down the like left bumper and then select an option off your wheel, yeah? But there's fewer options. But because of that, the game focuses so heavily on conversation that it wants you to talk, and your supporting characters talk to you all the time. And they don't just... Like, they just talk to you anywhere of like, yeah, buddy, over here, and gotcha, you sucker, and various, like, standard marine talk.
Yeah.
But then occasionally they'll ask you questions. They'll just flat out ask you a question that needs to be answered. And it's not... It only needs to be answered in the fact that the game won't let you proceed until you've answered this. If you haven't got a headset in, you'll be pressing LB and choosing an option. And if you've got a headset, you'll be talking. And it does that just to force this whole, remember the talking thing? That's really cool, right? Yeah, we're recognising your speech. Yeah, that's all. Except for those bits are really mundane and pointless. They'll be like, they're a forced bit of dialogue, but not on a piece that's interesting of like, do you want to go left or right?
Sure.
That would be like, yeah, sure, ask me that question and maybe I have a choice. There are things like, what do you think about the war? And it's like, well, that doesn't matter. It's not affecting anything. And so it just does it to just kind of ram that home. And that pissed me off.
Right.
You follow around by a character called Big Bo, and he just doesn't shut up. That's all I took away from it.
But I mean, did you? Yeah, I mean, I certainly didn't play long enough to kind of get into the whole team morale section. And again, referring back to Mass Effect, it's kind of got a loyalty system that affects how they perform in game. I think that's what it's supposed to do.
I didn't. So that's interesting. So it's got a system where, and that's why you're communicating with your characters, so you can congratulate them and run them down. Yeah. So you can call them idiots and say good job and stuff. And then morale goes up, and the same goes if you shoot anyone by mistake, then they dislike you. I've not seen any effects of what that does though. Presumably what it does is it means they're less likely to help you when you're down because they can recover you,
right?
And just provide covering fire and things like that. Makes them less, controllable. But I never saw any effects of that because I was just kind of playing it like Gears of War and getting through quite nicely. I mean, the combat's quite good. It is just exactly Gears of War. It doesn't have the reload, the
active reload.
Yeah. But apart from that, it's the same. And the enemies are quite cool. You're fighting just like robots. And they explode really nicely and really chunkily when you sort of pepper them with bullets. Their bits come off all over the place and it makes quite a lot of mess. You take out their legs and they fall to the floor and then they crawl Terminator style towards you, which is kind of cool. And if you manage to get a headshot and sort of whack off their armour and then take their head clean off, they then don't know, they like lose their targeting system and they go and attack their own
They'll
buddies,
attack anyone,
which is awesome.
Yeah,
and that can be really cool. So those were all sort of decent, but they're again sort of like faceless as an army of robots would be.
They are very generic.
So I didn't really care about any of it. The voice acting's dreadful for so many. Like your main character is so
wooden.
Well, no, he's not. He looks like he should be. He kind of looks like he's going to be like Keanu Reeves in The Matrix. And then he's all sort of like dude-bro-ish.
Right.
And it's all sort of like, it's weird. Like he almost wants to party and make sort of bad jokes. And it doesn't fit with his character at all. And they're dressed as like Mass Effect characters. Like everyone in Binary Domain is doing like Mass Effect cosplay. It's crazy. Every single person's dressed sort of like they made their own Mass Effect costume.
Their own N7 armor.
So I just was not taken with this game in the slightest. I literally played first 2 levels and then I did the downward slope Mario 64 slide.
I love the slide bit. That was my favourite part.
Which was weird. And then just like played it for another level and thought, no, I can't do this anymore. It's not that any of it's bad. Like there's loads of bits in it that work quite well, and the voice thing's one of them. It does work, and it's all right. But
it's just I think in general it's just kind of a grind on your nerves.
It's just been implemented poorly. There's some bad choices. It doesn't fit together quite right. It all looks fine.
There's
but it
no drive to
right.
play it at the end of the day.
Because I don't have a clue what's going on. I was skipping every single cutscene in that game because I just did not care about what was going on. And it's partly the fault of the fact that I played a lot of games that week, and by the time I got to it, I didn't necessarily care too much about what I was playing. I just wanted to shoot stuff. But also, nothing about the design in Binary Domain sticks out to you. It's got nothing memorable or pleasant in the way that it visually looks, and that kind of is a big block for me. So Binary Domain, I can't recommend it.
No, well, I mean, it's a decent shooter if you pick it up for a $5.
Yeah, I still don't know if you'll have fun though.
No, you probably won't have fun, but it might keep you off the streets.
The voice stuff was cool. Some things then that happened since the last episode. Konami had that big conference. Remember we were talking about it last episode where they said they were gonna their news was gonna shake the industry.
Yes, I do remember.
And it was pretty big. They announced a whole bunch of Metal Gear stuff for the 25th anniversary. First of all was a movie. Metal Gear Solid movie is happening. It's Columbia Pictures, I think, that have picked it up. And it's Go, which is cool. I'm happy with that. You
so
guys...
Columbia's Sony, isn't it?
Yeah.
So which makes sense, right?
Yeah. I mean, they've got strong ties to Sony.
Metal Gear movie, how do you feel about that?
I'm interested to see what comes out of it. I probably won't be happy.
Yeah, unless they do it right, it's, you know...
It's definitely a tough one, and the bar is high.
Yeah.
To kind of produce quality, a lot of people potentially can be seriously pissed off from this.
You reckon? I don't know. I think you're being too hard on it. I think it's from a... Presumably Kojima's going to be involved because he would get involved with everything, and he wants to be a movie maker anyway. That, to me, seems like good hands exactly for this sort of project. If the money's there, I think that's kind of the biggest issue. Like, as long as it's got the budget, then it could be done. I mean, the story needs to be sensible, right? Because the Metal Gear story is nuts. And they need to figure out whether it's going insane or not. But otherwise, I think it's just a case of money. Throw enough money at it, you could have an awesome movie. I definitely want to see it, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I don't. God knows when that'll come out. I'm presuming way, way in the future. If it ever does, I suppose it still could go the Halo route.
Will just disappear.
So they announced a couple of other things as well. They announced a social game called Metal Gear Social Ops, which I don't know really anything about, but they showed like an iPhone screen and stuff.
Yeah, it was just like a screenshot they showed off of just like a snake just there with some HUD bits and nothing else really.
Yeah, I didn't read up about it because I wasn't that interested. But the iPhone game, the Guns of the Patriots game or whatever it was on iPhone was really good.
Yeah,
I really
like
enjoyed that.
it, yeah,
and actual things like Metal Gear Acid and stuff were also really good games on portables.
I don't know. I had real mixed feelings about Acid.
But so it doesn't surprise me that they're going this route with a social game anyway. Sure. They've already sort of tested the water with the weird stuff.
And they've done online before, haven't they?
Yeah, exactly. So that's good. The big announcement then was Metal Gear Ground Zeroes, which was the next big Metal Gear game where they used to debut the Fox engine, so Kojima's new engine that they've developed for this game, and it looked pretty good.
Yeah, it looked really good.
It looked nice. This game's like. It's being told after Peace Walker, so sort of like a Peace Walker 2 sort of setting, I guess. I don't know really much about it because the story in Metal Gear has just lost me so many times. And I'm not caught up on Metal Gear is like I followed the series like 1, 2, 3, 4, and 3 was my dipping point because that was when it went back in time. Yeah. Once they broke the progression of the story, I was like, I don't know, no, I can only go forwards from Metal Gear Solid. So I don't know about Peace Walker and I don't know about Snake Eater so much. And this is from that sort of era.
So I think you're playing as Big Boss as opposed to Solid.
Yeah. You are playing as Big Boss. It takes place just after Peace Walker, so it's after he's finished Outer Haven. And it sort of shows Foxhound for the first time as well, because they've got the old Foxhound patches in the video that they showed, but it's Fox backwards, so it's XOF.
There's a big thing at the moment, big theme going on through this game of mirrored images and backwards text and stuff. Yeah. So I don't know what Kojima's planning with sort of the weird tomfoolery there. In the trailers are always nuts. Always have loads of secret meetings and crazy stuff going on. So I'm sure there's more of that. But yeah, there's this 10-minute gameplay footage that's what you referenced there, Joe, that we watched, and it shows the game. And the biggest thing that everyone's talking about at the moment is the game's seemingly open world. You can drive cars around in the game. You can call in airlifts and chopper your way up to other locations. And that changes a lot of stuff in terms of the Metal Gear thing.
Definitely.
I'm really interested to see what they do with this, because if it takes place after Peace Walker, all the stuff that they added to Peace Walker that I loved, so building up your own mercenary groups, doing research, unlocking new weapons, things like this, if they have that sort of element going again, but add open world, it could be really interesting to see what they do with it.
Yeah, I mean, I like the idea of attacking a situation, fucking it up, running away, and then attacking the same situation again, but from the other side. Sure. Yeah. Just like, I'm coming around here now. And that's kind of cool. And how much will people follow you? How much can I play with that world? Yeah. It certainly looked big and looked good. Graphically, I didn't think this looked as amazing as everyone else was raving about online. I think it looked very good.
Yeah, like Sean pointed it out when I showed him a part of it. He said it looked very shiny, very bright.
Yeah, well, it was in the
rain, so
which is always that. It's kind of a devious trick, and Binary Domain does it as well. It's kind of a little bit of a trick of developers these days. It's quite easy to make like something look good at night in the rain. Yeah. Because you get lots of shiny surfaces and they're quite easy to do, and it can look very flash. I would have thought I thought this was better. I thought the rain in this looked a little bit better than that. But the main thing was it was the size of the world was what kind of made it impressive for the level of detail was in there. Because the characters looked good. The cloth physics looked amazing on his coat, on the bad dude's coat when he walks in, just like flowing in the wind. That looked awesome.
I mean, one thing that Metal Gear has always done extremely well is graphics. I mean, Metal Gear Solid 2, even today, you can still look at it and go, you know what? it's a pretty good looking
Yeah,
game.
they make good use of the systems,
Yeah.
and the way it's
They
designed
push
is
them
kind
to
of
the
clean and you know they don't. It's never been that high on textures. It's always been sort of like
Yeah.
quite clean textures.
Yeah.
But it
Uses
always
them
looks
well.
solid. It always looks really nice and cinematic in that
Yes.
respect. So this had more of that. It looked cool. I'm excited for this.
Oh yeah, I'm excited. I'm really looking forward to it.
But it's still not, as far as I'm concerned. I don't think they consider that. It's still not Metal Gear 5.
Yeah, apparently not. Just
So
Yeah, it's not following down that route.
no, exactly. It's coming from
in
the
terms
sort
of
of
plot,
Peace Walker vibe,
sure.
I suppose. They're getting used to doing that sort of
And maybe
offshoot
that's
stuff.
maybe that's becoming the main franchise. You never know.
Yeah, it's interesting. There was big. I think whether that's industry shaking or not is another matter. It
Debatable.
depends on how much of a fan you are, but it's certainly very, very big news.
Yeah.
So that's cool. I hope they get David Hayter back to do the voice again.
Yeah.
They will
I think
do.
it needs to be.
You think they'd have to, right?
Yeah.
You wonder at what point do you, as a voice actor like David Hayter or someone like that, go, you know what, now, like, when do you get the point where you get cocky enough where you're like, they need me? Like, the fans demand that I am the voice of that person. When do you get cocky with that? At what point does Steve Downes, who does the voice of Master Chief, go, yeah, good luck making your game without me?
If you're smart, you don't ever get cocky.
Yeah, I suppose. But
You
you
just go just a little bit more.
how much do
please.
they get paid, do you reckon? I mean, Master Chief speaks very, very little. He can't get paid a lot for that. But it's a huge role when you consider
it's
it.
like, it's quite iconic, isn't it? I think he probably gets, and Microsoft, I can't imagine they're gonna let him starve. I imagine he gets a decent amount of money from it.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to know. I bet you it's less than we think.
Yeah, but I just found it interesting when David Hayter was actually in Metal Gear 4.
Right, okay. Was he?
Yeah, at the beginning of Metal Gear 4, there's the bit where you can flip through the TV channels.
Right.
There's the guy sat there in the chair doing the interview.
Oh, yeah,
That's David Hayter with an eye patch on.
Yeah.
He's like wearing the eye patch from Metal Gear 4.
There's a lot of weird
Yeah.
stuff, and I forgot, man, there's a lot of weird hidden stuff in that game, because it's not all about eggs being fried.
Yeah.
All right, then, other stuff that's happened. Black Ops 2 announced their Prestige Edition prize, I guess you could call it. Obviously, was it Black Ops that initially did it? Was it the first Black Ops that had the remote control car?
Yeah, it was, the RCXD.
All right, yeah. So then that was nuts. Remember, it was like over £100, and it was like you get a remote control car with a camera on it,
Yeah, it
and
was-
it was just it was obscene.
Modern Warfare 2 had night vision goggles, didn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of big first prestige. I think.
Yes. Yeah. True. And then Black Ops had the remote control car, right?
Yeah.
Is this one actually called the Prestige Edition, or is it the Care Package Edition?
I don't know. It might be called the Care Package Edition.
Because it is just the Care Package.
But they've announced what it is anyway,
Yeah.
and you get a remote control parrot drone thing
Yeah.
for it, which is insane. It's just like stupid. It's something like $170 or something.
Yeah.
159 in the UK. Is
Yeah,
it?
it's £160.
Which is an obscene amount for you're just buying a quad-based copter for no reason whatsoever.
I'd give it a week before someone breaks that.
A week? That's crazy. I'd say if they don't use it for 6 days.
Yeah, most likely.
It looks cheap and horrible and nasty, and it's just a ridiculous amount of money to spend on a game for something that's not the game. And I don't condone it at all. I can't believe they've done it, and it's just mental. That it's
No,
even bigger
why-
than a remote control car.
I think it's harder to justify with Call of Duty games because they are annual. If it's something that comes along every 5 years or so, it's a bit more justifiable.
I guess
to
no,
have
but this,
one of those
but
crazy
then
high
the reason
package
they're only
ones.
doing this because people do buy them.
Yeah,
you know, and it's the Call of Duty.
but they
crowd.
don't buy them in massive.
No,
droves.
but the Call of Duty crowd is a big enough crowd, and it's the right sort of people that will buy
Yeah,
it. Do you know what I mean?
true.
I'm never going to buy it.
No, but
So-
you might see them in HMV a week later, kind of half
Yeah,
the price.
you-
They,
Yeah, it's
they
possible.
were at one point HMV flogging the Modern Warfare 2 ones for £40 with the night vision goggles.
Yeah,
Mental. Pair of night vision goggles for £40.
So you kind of
a pair of shit night vision goggles
Yeah.
for 40
Yeah.
quid. It's just like this is a shit quadcopter and it's a shit
Yeah.
remote control car. That's what you got to remember. That's my point. It's ridiculously expensive. It's not anything to do with the game, and it's crap. That's it. I can't believe they've done it again.
Yeah.
It's cheeky as fuck.
Well, they didn't do it with the last
Modern Warfare 3.
Yeah,
no.
they didn't. They just comment standard and special, didn't they?
Well, they did have a Prestige, didn't they? It was the one that came with the Call of Duty Elite service.
Yeah, but they didn't
that's
do
more
any.
like a special
Yeah,
edition.
They didn't do any big giveaway. No, they didn't. So that's nuts. I can't believe it. Square Enix launched their Core Online service, which is kind of weird. This is kind of like OnLive obviously died in the last coming weeks, as we talked about. But Square Enix launched a very similar service called Core Online, where you can basically play. At the moment, it's in beta, and you can play Hitman Blood Money for free entirely on it. It just streams it through your browser. You can play that and Mini Ninjas at the moment, and I think they're adding Tomb Raider Lara Croft Guardian of Light.
Okay.
And it just works beautifully. It works much better than on live. The quality was high, and I just totally played Hitman Blood Money on this laptop that we're recording on now, without any problem. It was nuts.
Nice.
It was just really, really cool. I'm not sure what the web address is, but if you just Google Square Enix Core Online, you can try it out. And at the moment, it's free. You just got to register up, and you can play them.
How good looking was it?
It was HD.
Excellent.
Yeah, it looked like it was, it was full on, full res, everything. It was awesome.
When you told me about it, I did go on the website to have a look, but then it was only Blood Money there, so I was just like...
There's mini ninjas as well.
Yeah.
There's mini ninjas. I just wanted to check out what it was like and how responsive it was, and I played it with just, WASD keyboard, and it was just perfect. I mean, it was totally good enough. And no, good enough's not fair. It was like I was running it on my laptop.
Cool.
Except for my laptop couldn't run it. So, it was very good.
Yeah.
It was very impressive. So that's a weird service for them to have launched. And it'll be interesting to see what games they put on it. Will they only be Square Enix games, presumably, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know. I haven't looked into it. I don't know if they're planning on selling the games that way, maybe at a cheaper price, and you never quite own them. You just have this version you can use, or whether they'll be using it for demos. It seems like a really good idea for demos if I can just try it out there and then. So that's, it's weird, but I don't know, it's just kind of come from nowhere and it totally works. It's awesome. So I thoroughly recommend checking that out. There's been more talk about Microsoft's free-to-play stuff that's coming up now because it's all like nearly upon us. Obviously, there's not been any free-to-play stuff. There's been talks of free-to-play stuff for ages from Microsoft, haven't there? With things like, what was the racing game? Joy Racer? Joyride, yeah. And but now it is actually happening. So we've got Happy Wars, which is coming out this month on XBLA, and Ascend New Gods, which was announced at E3, wasn't it? And they're both kind of free-to-play games, which would be interesting to see how that works and what that does for sort of Microsoft. Microsoft's in a weird stage at the moment where like Sony are gaining loads of ground on them in the online space because of these free giveaways through PSN. And it's nuts. They've given away, what you were saying, Joe, it's like Red Dead Redemption this month.
Yeah, I want to say Dead Space.
Yeah, they've given away Just Cause 2. Loads of stuff. And it's just like, wow, I'm just getting free games. And the service is getting a lot of fans and followers from that. So I feel like this is almost like Microsoft's response, is to put some free-to-play games up there. And if they work, it could be really good. Happy Wars looks brilliant. It looks kind of like a Fat Princess 30-player sort of online rumble, really. Almost like a tower defense sort of game, really. You're like land grabbing.
Right.
So that was kind of cool. And Ascend New Gods, I don't know really anything about that. It just looked like...
It looks quite interesting from the show we saw at E3.
Yeah, it looked kind of 3D Gauntlet-ish wise, and it was like hack and slash, co-op fire sort of thing. So yeah, that'd be interesting. I don't know. I'm up for that. I kind of want some free-to-play stuff. I kind of feel like there's loads of times I turn on my 360 and I don't know what I'm going to do. Like I don't have a game I want to play, and I haven't put anything in the disk drive, so I'm just kind of like fumbling through the menus going like something entertain me, and I would click on a free to play game or play like it's kind of like that Facebook time when you're not looking at your friends shit and you're just like just give me something else to do, you know, and if that's Plants vs Zombies or whatever, I don't know, but just give me something to do. So this could fill that gap for me. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what kind of system they adopt. Obviously, there's several different types of way of doing free to play, and so I'll be quite interested to see how Microsoft handle it and whether they handle it well. Yeah,
I'd imagine they'll just copy Facebook almost exactly, and they'll be like timed, time per click things that an energy system that you're kind of using, as well as just selling you the standard stuff, outfits, right?
Yeah, outfits, weapons, bits and pieces like that.
Exactly. Someone will always buy a hat.
Yeah, probably me.
Yeah, well, there you go. So, it's done wonders for Team Fortress, isn't it? So, So, that seems to be it then, news-wise. I can't think of anything else that I've noticed over the past week, although shit has happened. I'm sure we've missed out loads of stuff.
We always do.
There's always little stuff. We forgot. We totally missed out that Neil Armstrong died last week.
Yep.
And I kind of feel a little bit terrible about it because it's Neil Armstrong. He's kind of like the number one dude in the world. Like, how was Neil Armstrong not the most famous man in the history of everything?
I think he must be pretty close.
Yeah, but he kind of wasn't, though, was he?
Who was number one?
Well, no, I don't know who was number one, but I can think of a billion people that were higher up than Neil Armstrong.
You reckon?
Yeah, like Halle Berry, Michael Jackson, Michael J. Fox, Christopher Reeve, all these people, and some of those stars gone, current, new, Hugh Jackman.
I think his issue is that, he landed on the moon. Everyone was like, yeah, Neil Armstrong is the most famous man in the world. and then he didn't do shit else.
So I was reading about this. He didn't want any of the attention.
Right.
He actively avoided.
Well, there you go.
the
That's
attention
why
for it.
he's not the
But
most
how
famous
did
person in the
how
world.
did people not? That's not decided by him. That's decided by us, the people, right? How did we not think of him constantly as like the biggest man in the world, the number one guy? It's Neil Armstrong, right? He went to the moon, and yet we're obsessed with, I don't know, J-Lo. I'm still
Speak
like
for
10 years ago.
yourself.
Yeah.
10 years ago.
I don't really, pay any attention to celebrities. Neil Armstrong is, always been there in my mind as one of the greatest men in the world, because he was the first man on the moon, and he's just one of those people that people should never forget.
And yet we forgot to mention him on last week's episode because he died. It's tragic. He was 82
Yeah.
years old. It was kind of mental. And after all the stuff with all the Mars landing nonsense of the last few weeks, it's just sort of like, whoa, I can't believe Neil Armstrong's dead. And I was reading the other day about, like, he was the first man on the moon. That's fairly impressive. Walk around, check this out, take a couple of photos, go home. But like when they were landing on the moon, the whole automatic pilot thing that was landing the module, he was like, Neil Armstrong's there, he's like looking at the monitors going, yes, cool, right, cool, there's the moon, that's brilliant, Earth's way over there. And then like, oh my god, we're going too fast, we're going to crash, this is going to just completely bury us in the mountain. He overrides the automatic pilot and manually lands that thing. He does like a fucking Jerry Bruckheimer fucking Michael Bay moment as he's landing on the moon, as the first person to ever land on the moon, and he wrestles the controls. I imagine he's got like a Steel Battalion controller, and a cigar in his mouth, and he's just like, hang on kids, we're going down. And he fucking pilots that bastard onto the fucking surface of the moon, then gets out and goes, this is wicked, giant mankind leap, takes a couple of photos and goes home. That guy's the dude, as far as I'm concerned.
I never knew there was problems like that.
No,
When they were
I
landing on it, yeah.
didn't. As well, it's just sort of like, but he's like, yeah, stand aside, boys. And I imagine it to be really video gamey, like he was literally playing like Lunar Lander or something.
Is that what you reckon was on his monitor?
Yeah, exactly.
no, there's no like longitude and latitude. He's got Lunar Lander.
So it's kind of tragic that Neil Armstrong's gone. But with that in mind, I started looking at all of the Curiosity stuff because I hadn't really checked any of it out. And that's mental. You can just you can look at every picture that it sends back and every bit of video or whatever. And it's like I'm looking at photos of like mountains and just going, that's Mars.
Yeah, when you tweeted about it, I was gonna go and have a look at it, but I was in the middle of something and didn't get around
It just
to it on
doesn't.
that day.
It's hard to get your brain around it. Like you're looking at it and you're like, that's fucking Mars, and it kind of just looks like. Well, the worst part I found is it kind of just looks like how you've always imagined Mars to look like. Of like, it looks a bit like the middle of the desert in America, right?
Yeah.
And it's red. That's kind of what it looks like. It looks like Total Recall, but it totally does look like Total Recall. It's mind blowing. And as you see the photos, as they get like further into focus, as it gets closer to the ground, that's like it just looks like it's outside, and it's Mars. It's mental. That's mental. And there's like a big transit van driving around up there for no reason whatsoever or something. I don't know.
To get you more pictures of little pebbles.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, and there's loads of video. You can watch cool video of it actually landing, of the thing landing, of the parachute coming off and the thrusters.
Okay.
It was because that's mental. The way they did that is kind of correct. We never spoke about it, but it still blows my freaking mind. Of like, maybe the coolest thing the human race has ever done was that Mars landing.
Right.
And there's still people that don't even fucking know how cool that was.
I've not looked into it.
Like
I've
it
not
was
seen
like
that
so.
video.
It's like a transit van, right, coming down to the surface of Mars, right, and they got to like land that on Mars. But it's too fast. Obviously, it's it's just going to plummet through. So it has a parachute, and the parachute slows it down, but it's still not. It's still going to hit the ground too fast. So it has like this. Has like a base ship thing that like detaches from it with thrusters on it, right? That kind of hovers it above the ground.
Nice.
And then it lowers it down from that.
Okay.
So it's kind of it's got these amazing like disposable
stage kind of landing.
Yeah, it's got like disposable jetpacks. These jetpack thrusters are the thing that saves the day. Basically, it comes down, they turn on, it kind of hovers above, and then it lowers the transit van basically down onto the surface. The jetpack thrusters go off into any
nice.
direction, and then the thing's there. And it's just like it's the most. It's like I don't know. It's like robots doing Ocean's fucking 11 style sort of planning and execution of a heist. It's
But
mental.
I would like to point out that the first thing we did on Mars was litter jetpacks everywhere.
So it's really cool. And any videos of it you should totally watch because it's mind blowing that there's even been able to do. It's on Mars. Like how I still think about it now. And I'm like, who's controlling it? Is there some dude with like a remote control in like NASA HQ, just going.
Yeah, I can only assume it's all automated because the delay in signals is going to be significant.
It's crazy. There's loads of cool tracking stuff in it because like the tire tracks of the robot spell out Morse code for the name of it, and then also they use that to track the distances travelled as well as all the other tech that they've got to do that. But the actual tracks themselves have a pattern on them that allow them to track that. It's nuts.
Yeah, most of those things have automatic programming to search out and do analysis on rocks and dirt.
So he was going to be all smart then, and accidentally swallowed his tongue.
Yeah, it always happens at some point where
Yeah. So, but what you were saying is a valid point. It's expensive stuff.
Yeah, there's no guy sat there with a joystick and a big gulp in America controlling this thing. It's just there doing its own thing.
With a really, really long antenna that sticks out outside of the earth.
Yeah, you sort of imagine there it's got like a big track keypad on the top, and you just go and then just let it go. So yeah, so Mars is good. Neil Armstrong's died. That's sad, and some games and stuff. Shall we do some Educating Joe? How do we feel about that?
I guess it's probably that time again.
Shimon motherfuckers.
Once upon a time, there was a boy named Joe. He didn't play many video games as a child. He was too busy out running and jumping through fields, perhaps stealing apples. But then one day, he found himself inexplicably on a video game podcast, and two guys, Mike and Shaun, vowed to take him back through time to play the games he missed. This is Educating Joe.
Educating Joe, Michael Jackson's Moonwalker, the game. Arcade version, because this was out on 16-bit stuff. Yeah. Was it just Mega Drive?
I think so.
Maybe
Amiga.
No, I think you're right. I think Michael Jackson really kind of only liked Sega. I think he was a Nintendo guy. I think it didn't do it for him. So yeah, arcade version though, because that was the coolest version. This game is a memento. It's based on Moonwalker, the film, which you've not seen, Joe.
Yeah, I've never seen it and I never will.
That means you didn't have a childhood.
I had a childhood. It was just after your childhood.
I can't. I recently bought Moonwalker. Last couple of months or whatever on DVD, and I bought it for my daughter. That's how integral it is. Like, you haven't had a childhood. Someday she's going to see Moonwalker and go, "Who's that guy?" And I'll be like, "We don't talk about him anymore." But wasn't the robot cool? And so you need to have seen Moonwalker.
But roughly when was Moonwalker made? The film.
Oh God, I don't know. 1990?
No, it's earlier than that, I'm sure.
89?
88, 89, about that.
So I was either not born or one, roughly, when it came out.
It's irrelevant. So
yeah,
that's kind of going like, our generation should not watch Taxi Driver, but most of us have seen it.
You've still had however many years, 20 odd years, to watch it.
Yeah, but I've had no one roughly about your age to tell me to watch it, because...
All right, that's fair enough. So what you're saying is that your parents didn't love you.
They did. They were just,
Anyway,
older than you.
This is based on Moonwalker, and I guess actually without having any context of Moonwalker, this is kind of a bit of a crazy game, to be honest. Because from your perspective, Joe, this must be nuts. You're Michael Jackson, the dead pop star paedophile freak, right? Allegedly. And you turn into a robot when you touch a monkey, you rescue children, and you dance to kill criminals with Tommy guns and robots.
You also fire random blue laser flame things out of your glove.
Yes, you do.
That's Michael Magic.
Yeah, exactly. And you dance a smooth criminal, and it's cool. And even though it's isometric, you're okay with that. Come on, tell us, what were your views on this game, Joe?
I didn't go in really wanting to play this.
No, you had a big problem with it.
I don't like Michael Jackson, and I distanced myself from anything.
It wasn't Michael Jackson, the game. It was Neil Armstrong's Moonwalker.
If it was Neil Armstrong's Moonwalker, I would have quite happily played it.
Okay.
But yeah, I hate Michael Jackson's music, anything like that. I just don't pay any attention to it. Okay. So I wasn't interested in the slightest at playing Moonwalker.
It's quite an unusual game because the isometric viewpoint already makes it quite different because it is just basically a brawler, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of all it is. And this the main difference between this and like the console version was this is much more fighting orientated. It's much more sort of beat 'em up-y, I suppose. But the isometric view made it weird because you can never quite aim. It's quite hard to.
It's got no sort of auto lock on.
Yeah, diagonal directional stuff on a joystick's quite tough sometimes. Up, down, left, and right is easy, but you're never going up, down, left, or right. You're always going diagonally up.
Yeah.
you just have these weird one-touch moves, don't you? You just kind of like, my glowing finger, you disappear. And then they just disappear, yeah? And sometimes it's like, I touch you twice, you gone. And that's not how Michael Jackson sounds. but it's kind of like, it's very quick, sort of like bam, 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 and people just fly off the screen.
It has, he has like 3 different moves for that one button. So it's, if you're at distance, you press the button and fire blue in the direction you're aiming. You
like
hold
a Hadoken that's stuck to his hand, like a bit of tissue.
It's like Dan's Hadouken.
Like he can't,
so
he
it's
can't get it
limited.
off. Yeah,
it doesn't go far. It doesn't go
bit
far.
of altitude that's flicking at people.
Like when Ryu comes out of the toilet and he's just like, I've got this fucking thing stuck on my Hadouken, and that's stuck on his hand. It's a bit like that. Yeah, so that's one move. You got the blasting thing.
Then you got the one where he actually has a Hadouken and he fires the blue thing at people.
Yeah,
if
so
you hold it down.
that's your moonwalk. Yeah. So while you're charging, he moonwalks. He walks backwards when he's doing it.
And then you have the one, if you're standing next to a person, you press it, he does the spin and just like flicks him with the back of his hand.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you have your special move where
your special move
the
where
spotlight
he dances.
comes on.
It's cool. Spotlight, everyone starts dancing. All the bad guys start dancing. He spins around and he throws his hat off and they all just...
He does 2 moves, depending on number of enemies on screen. He'll either throw the hat or he jumps onto his toes and kind of sparkles come down from the sky and destroy them all.
Yeah.
But it's that little bit of MJ flair.
Yeah.
That, you should know.
I would like to jump in and point out that it does have possibly the greatest idle animation ever.
Right.
I mean, if you leave Michael for literally like 2 seconds, he just can't
Oh,
stand
hell
it.
breaks out in it. 2
pretty
seconds.
much.
You
Just
can't
like-
trust that, man. You got to watch him.
He starts flashing himself and thrusting his pelvis a lot.
He just flicks his jacket and then just starts dancing
It's
away.
really
the man
cool.
needs to keep his pelvis in shape.
Yeah.
It's really cool. I mean, all joking aside about Michael Jackson and where he took himself, this game made me go, damn, Michael Jackson was cool. This was cool.
Once
Michael
upon a time, Michael Jackson was.
Was
very
there
cool.
anything cool for a time? Was there anything cooler than Smooth Criminal Michael Jackson?
No.
And that's who you are in this, right?
Yeah,
Like Moonwalker
yeah,
is just Smooth Criminal, the music video, right? It's just like an extended.
Well,
version
at the
of it.
beginning of the music video, there's like a ton of videos from Bad anyway, isn't there?
And it's, he's there. He's dressed in his cool Band's suit and fedora and stuff.
Yeah.
He turns into a robot. He's fighting like mobsters and things. It's cool. The setting of that is cool.
I think I would have enjoyed it more if it wasn't Michael Jackson, because I have a different view of Michael Jackson than you two do. I've never really liked his music, and I've never found him cool.
I'm really interested in why you find... Yeah, because exactly, we grew up in a world where Michael Jackson was once awesome.
Yeah.
He was loved. And what I find interesting is like why this strong hatred for Michael Jackson from you? Like, what did he do? Is there like, were you like the biggest Michael Jackson fan and you wrote to him every day? This is like Eminem's Stan. Is this what this is?
Joe probably doesn't know what Eminem's Stan is.
Yeah, I do. But yeah, no, I don't know where it comes from. I just dislike him. I don't know why. I've never been a big fan of his music, and when I was growing up, or when I started, noticing Michael Jackson. That was a really bad way of saying that.
Just finish this fucking story quickly. You don't like Michael Jackson? No,
yeah, he was
enough.
never cool when he was.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. Okay. I mean, Earth Song's amazing, but that's fine.
Is it?
Yeah. As far as I'm concerned, I was hoping this episode would be our Earth Song. All right. So yeah, you finished this game actually today. Did you do it today?
Yeah, I smashed it.
Yeah, and it interestingly says that it was co-developed by Michael Jackson.
No, it doesn't say. It says game concept and design by Michael Jackson.
Oh, really?
That's all it
That's
says.
it. So he didn't.
It doesn't list any of the programmers.
Right. Okay.
Nothing.
So he didn't just like partially work on it. He was like, "This is my idea."
And what I do at this point is I moonwalk in and I blast everybody, then I touch a monkey.
Yeah. So. Yeah, no, I don't buy that.
No.
I'm sure he was involved in some way because he must have. Cause it's heavily Michael Jackson based, right?
Yeah.
But no, he didn't develop the game.
I don't think so.
No.
I don't think he had that skill set.
It's too good because actually, for all we're making jokes, it's a bloody good game. It's a good-looking game. It was 3-player in the arcade, which is why it always stood out to me because you could have 3 Michael Jacksons running around at the same time.
Yeah.
But it's slick. It looks really nice. I think it's aged incredibly well.
It has, yeah.
It's got all Michael Jackson's music in it. Although interestingly, the Graveyard level 3, doesn't have Thriller playing.
Well, that's obvious because Thriller's not in Moonwalker. Moonwalker's based around the Bad album, which was an album after, I do believe.
But it was still beyond Thriller. And it's weird. It's a weird scenario.
You're in a graveyard. You'd have thought Thriller would at least, if not Thriller, Leave Me Alone, but not Another Part of Me.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah, so that's just
Like
kind
the
of
worst
strange.
song
You just
selection
go
for
like
Graveyard.
you've missed a beat because with his special move where he makes everyone dance.
Yeah.
It was Thriller.
And the zombies don't even dance to in the Thriller style. You'd
No.
have thought at the very least they'd have added that in.
And maybe that would have made it too. Maybe they did at one point. They were like, no man, without Thriller we can't. Do
Yeah,
that. It's
maybe.
crazy. So yeah, it's a simple enough game, but I kind of like it. You see some weird sights in this game on the way through.
It's got a lot of Star Wars ATST rip-offs in it,
Right. Okay.
which also have thrusting pelvises.
Yeah. Well,
Which
everything
bizarrely,
dances.
yeah.
Man. Everything
Yeah.
dances.
It does have some great things in there, like when you're playing for a level and there's like some guys playing like a jazz, someone playing a saxophone.
He's playing
yeah.
a jazz.
Yeah,
Excuse me while I just play my jazz.
Yeah, some guys playing jazz, so someone's got a saxophone, someone's on a piano, things like
Again.
that. And then out of nowhere, like whips off his hat and opens up his coat, and he's a bad guy with a gun.
Yeah.
and things
Again,
like that.
that is from the smooth criminal scene in Moonwalker.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it is
All
just
that
that. Exactly,
references.
that's kind of just all it is, isn't it?
Yeah.
I feel like there's a bit in this game where he walks in and flips a coin into the jukebox. Does that happen?
I think it happens in a cutscene. Yeah.
Okay.
So they're kind of like semi-animated comics.
Yeah.
But again, that also happens in.
It's
in
just
Moonwalker.
weird how every level starts. It comes up with a picture of Michael Jackson, and a picture of a guy holding a kid, and then he makes this weird noise, and they both disappear off the screen, and then you're fighting bad guys.
The guy holding the kid is from Lethal Weapon. What's his name?
Joe Pesci.
Joe Pesci is the
it?
villain. Yeah.
Looks nothing like Joe Pesci.
I think no. It looks a lot like Joe Pesci in that film because he has
Okay.
like a samurai knot top and round black spectacles on and dressed a lot in black.
I wish there were more games like this. I wish there were more sort of stars turned into games. I wish there was a Prince video game. You know,
Purple Rain.
And more than anything in the world, I wish there was a David Bowie computer game. And I suppose this sort of is
There
with
is that weird
Nomad Soul.
futuristic.
Nomad Soul. Yeah, it's David Cage. So it's the Fahrenheit. And,
Oh, right, okay.
Heavy Rain.
Yeah.
guy.
I was always really interested to play it, but it was
Oh,
PC based, wasn't it?
it was on Dreamcast as well.
Oh, was it?
It was a brilliant game.
Missed that one.
IDOS put it out.
Yeah.
Wicked game. David Bowie's in it. Yeah, he sings a song in a bar. It's kind of Blade Runner-ish. You'd actually
Right.
probably really like it. But yes, I wish there were more games like that. I wish there was Kiss the game. There is also that, but I wish there was individual. I wish there was Gene Simmons the game. You know. So yeah, it's Michael Jackson's Moonwalker. I think it's a classic. It's not like the 16-bit version, so don't get the Mega Drive version things the same as I did as a child. And
No,
it's-
the Mega Drive version was good,
Oh, it's still pretty good,
and
yeah.
even the Master System version was good.
But
Played both of them.
it's not, it's not the same.
No.
It was a good game in its own. It's in its own way. It was quite amusing to play, firing off blue flames and beating up bad guys. But yeah,
Just another day in MJ's life.
Exactly, that's what it was like. It was all based on it. That's why he was so heavily involved.
He just said to you, and then I went down to the shops, and these bad guys attacked these kids. Had blue flames coming out of my hair.
It's just anything now to talk like Michael Jackson. All right, so I guess that was Educating Joe this week. Next week we're going to do another game. We're going to do another SNES game now. And it's no real. We were struggling to think of a game, and there was loads that we were contemplating coming up. And there's loads of classics that maybe we should do, like Pilot Wings and Pilot Wings. But instead we're going to do this one because we just really love the movie it's based on, and actually it's not a terrible game either. We're going to do Demolition Man on the SNES because this is wicked. You've not seen this.
I've not played the game. No,
No, but you're a fan of the movie.
I love the movie.
Everyone's a fan of the movie.
You've got to
right?
love the movie, right?
There's too much. There's too much to love about that movie. So, and Demolition Man on SNES is actually a pretty good representation of it, I reckon.
Yeah, it's not bad.
So we're going to play that next week, and Joe, you're in for a treat,
Lucky Joe.
I'm looking forward to it.
as you should be, as you should be. So that was Educating Joe, and with that was episode 33 of Things We Play. Games. More games for next week. Have we already started playing them? I've already started playing my next week's games.
Have you?
Yeah.
I haven't yet, no.
I haven't really played anything
Okay.
that exciting. I played Left 4 Dead.
Okay.
I know. I just felt like playing.
I
it.
know,
was
I know
was
you-
I wanna
you're a
shoot
big
some
fan of
zombies.
Left 4
Yeah,
Dead.
well, I was. I went off it very quickly, but yeah, I was up for that.
I love the first one.
What's coming? What's coming?
Is Mark the Ninja on Xbox Live
the
coming?
Ninja. It's a guy called Mark.
I think it's Friday, 7th.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mark the Ninja is out. Tekken Tag Tournament's out as well, I believe, on the Friday.
Is that this week? I thought it was
I don't
next.
know. It's out soon.
Yeah, it's this week.
We'll find
or
something to
next.
play.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
sure.
and then obviously don't forget that on Monday, Indie Games Uprising starts.
Yep.
And it starts with the game which I can't pronounce. It's like Kroflarov. It begins with a Q, has a load of P's and TH's and L's.
Is that
in
the
it.
first game?
Yeah. No, that looks alright. It looks alright.
What's the Tuesday game called?
I'm not sure.
There's Every City Tuesday.
Every City Tuesday.
Yeah.
Actually-
City Tuesday, is
No,
that what it's
City
called?
Tuesday.
Oh, City Tuesday.
Yeah.
Does that come out on a Tuesday?
Don't know. I'm not sure what the date's about. That's obviously starting on Monday, and then there'll be a game every single day, with a break for the weekend for 9 games coming out. And one of them is really good. Gateways was actually announced as one of Microsoft's Dream Build Play. They do a Dream Build Play competition every year, right, for indie games to win. Dust was the winner last time.
Right.
Well, not last time. Dust won it once, and then obviously that came out as the XBLA title. Gateways is one of the winners this year, so that's a good sign. That's a good idea of the quality of these games. I mean, other winners were Dead Pixels. Was in there. I can't remember what the top game was, but they've announced those, and so Gateways looks really genuinely awesome. That's coming out in Indie Games Uprising. So we got to check those out. That'd be cool. We're gonna write something up for I think each one. So yeah, Monday, the weird one we can't pronounce. Some other games will come out. I don't know what. Joe, play your N64. I gave you an N64. You got to play it.
Okay, I'll plug it in over this week and play it.
Has anyone played Cold War?
No.
What's the point of me buying you gift?
I don't have an Xbox, an original Xbox.
What's the point of me buying you gift?
I do have an Xbox, but it's on a shelf, and I couldn't be asked to get it.
Alright, my Xbox is behind us right now. I might even fire it up after this very episode.
It's got its little screen on top.
Yeah. So, alright, cool. Well, in the meantime, obviously you can catch us on Twitter at thingsweplay, or you can email us. Anyone can email us in thingsweplay@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you. You can always go to the website as well, www.thingsweplay.net, where we're chucking cool stuff up there. I put up a little article last week about some weird Trials levels that I'd found. Did you see those?
Yeah.
Some of those were crazy.
Yeah, there's
Star
some
Wars
good
themed ones.
Yeah.
The Mario 1-4 level is nuts.
The Sonic level with the boss fight.
Yeah, and then what's the music, isn't it? In the Sonic level, it's got Sonic music all throughout the whole level. The Mario 1-4 level is animated sprites, little pixels.
It's insane.
The whole thing's balmy. Do check that out. So loads of stuff going up on the site as well. We've also sneakily, just stealthily, just putting it out there, added a donate button to the website. We're not saying you have to give us any money, but it does cost us money to put the podcast out. And it costs Joe money mainly for the podcast out. So to ease that burden on Joe, we have put a donate button. If you feel like donating anything to the podcast to help make it better and literally just help to get it out to you, then you can donate as much or as little as you want. But that's it, no pressure. We'll never mention it again. It's on the website. Go and do it. And that's us, really, I guess.
Finito.
Yeah. We'll see you next Tuesday.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.